Hi everyone, I'm Casey. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I share simple style tips and outfit ideas that work for me as a petite woman. I like keeping things comfortable, easy to wear, and still stylish. So if you're also figuring out what works for your frame, you might find something helpful here. Fashion did not always move this fast. There was a time when people owned fewer clothes, wore them often, repaired them when needed, and rarely thought twice about repeating an outfit. But as fashion became faster, cheaper, and more constant, that relationship began to change. Fast fashion did not just transform how clothes were made and sold, it also changed how people were encouraged to value them, shifting them from long-term wardrobe pieces to items that felt easy to replace. That shift is a big part of why clothing today can feel more temporary than ever. What changed first was not just the design of clothes, it was the speed of the entire system. Fast fashion is built around condensed production cycles, rapid turnover, and low prices that make frequent purchasing feel normal. McKinsey describes it as a model focused on getting new styles to customers at record pace, while the European Parliament frames it as a system tied to short use periods and high consumption. When newness becomes constant, shopping stops feeling occasional and starts feeling ongoing. And once speed becomes normal, it starts to shape expectations. If stores, apps, and ads are always offering something new, it becomes harder to stay satisfied with what you already own. UNEP notes that the average person is buying far more clothing than in the past while keeping each item for a much shorter time. That matters because it suggests a change not only in supply, but in mindset. Clothing becomes easier to replace, and because of that, easier to undervalue. This is where fast fashion starts changing the way we see clothes. It also changed the meaning of repeating outfits. In a slower clothing culture, repeating what you owned was normal. In a faster one, repetition can start to feel like falling behind. A business model built on frequent turnover works best when consumers feel a constant need to refresh. As European policymakers have increasingly emphasized durability, reparability, and circularity, it reflects recognition that the older model rewarded disposability and overconsumption for too long. Then social media accelerated everything even more. Fast fashion was already speeding up clothing cycles, but social platforms made trend turnover feel even more relentless. Instead of waiting for a new season, people can now be exposed to new aesthetics, new microtrends, and new shopping impulses every day. That constant visual input makes it easier for perfectly wearable clothes to feel outdated emotionally, even when nothing is actually wrong with them. This is one reason modern wardrobes can feel full, but still somehow unsatisfying. And that has changed what many people think style actually is. Real personal style usually develops through repetition. It comes from noticing what silhouettes you return to, which colors work together, what shapes flatter your body, and what pieces actually suit your daily life. But fast fashion rewards reaction more than refinement. It encourages people to answer trends quickly rather than build wardrobes slowly. For petites, this becomes even more noticeable. Not every trend translates well on a smaller frame. Some viral pieces look exciting online but are less useful in real life if the rise, hem, sleeve length, or scale is off. So a fast fashion mindset can be especially frustrating for petites because it encourages quick buying before a person has really figured out what proportions work best for them. The result can be more clothes, but not necessarily better outfits. The environmental cost is one of the clearest signs of how deeply this mindset spread. UNEP reports that the average person is buying 60% more clothing and wearing it for half as long, and it cites estimates that a truckload of textiles is landfilled or incinerated every second. The European Environment Agency also reported that textile consumption in the EU hit a record high in 2022. Those numbers are huge, but they also reflect a very everyday habit. clothing being treated as short-term. When garments are made to move quickly through closets, waste becomes part of the model rather than a side effect. And now the cycle is getting faster still. Recent policy and industry discussions increasingly distinguish between fast fashion and ultra-fast fashion, where micro-trends move even faster and ultra-low prices push even more frequent purchasing. McKinsey and European policymakers both point to condensed cycles and mounting sustainability concerns as central issues. When fashion moves this quickly, clothes can start to feel less like personal belongings and more like temporary visual content. So what did fast fashion really change? It changed the pace at which clothes enter our lives. It changed how easily we get bored of what we already own. It changed the meaning of repetition, the appeal of novelty, and the emotional value of clothing. It made shopping feel normal at a frequency that would have once seemed excessive. And maybe most importantly, it taught many people to confuse newness with style. But the most useful wardrobes usually are not built on constant replacement. They are built on recognition, knowing what works, repeating shapes that flatter, choosing colors that mix easily, buying with enough care that a piece still makes sense months later, not just in the moment it was purchased. This is partly style reasoning, but it is also consistent with the larger evidence that durability and longer use are exactly what current sustainability efforts are trying to restore. Maybe that is why more people are starting to question the whole system now. In Europe, policymakers have been pushing for stronger rules around textile waste, durability, recycling, and green claims, precisely because overproduction and disposability became too normal. That alone tells you something important. The problem is not just that people buy clothes, it is that the entire system trained consumers to see clothing as something meant to move on quickly. So maybe the goal is not only to criticize fast fashion. Maybe the better goal is to relearn a healthier relationship with clothes, as pieces you choose carefully, wear often, repeat confidently, and keep because they actually serve your life. Once fashion became faster, buying clothes became almost effortless, but valuing them became much harder. Maybe real style begins when you stop seeing clothes as disposable excitement and start seeing them as pieces worth keeping. If you enjoyed this kind of fashion deep dive, please like this video and subscribe for more style conversations that go beyond trends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think fast fashion changed the way you shop? Or did it change the way you see the clothes you already own? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.